All right, everybody, what's going on? Snarklipsy Boy 94 going live, doing some Clash of the Castle predictions and talking everything for Clash of the Castle. Sorry for the little delay. There's supposed to be two other guys joining us, but fortunately they couldn't make it. I was trying to give people some time to join, but time consuming. We got to start the show. So it'll be us three today, rocking it out, giving our predictions for the show. And feel free to give your guys' predictions as well in the comments below. Give your thoughts, interact, let us know some matches you're excited for. And I'll let my guests introduce themselves. Make sure you guys follow all the social media platforms, check out all the social media stuff. And then we will hop right into the card. So, Pat, if you want to go ahead.
What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Pat on TikTok at GTZPAT91. That is currently my only social media. I quit social media like a year and a half ago, and I forgot all my passwords and shit. So I need to figure all that out, and I'll get that out to y'all whenever I do. But for now, GTZPAT91. Go ahead and shoot your boy a follow. Last time I did one of these, I reached like 100. Like I got like 100 followers in like less than a week. So I'm still trying to grow. So.
It's good shit. What's going on, everybody? Lewis here. You guys can see this beautiful face on the Wrestling Chop Shop, another wrestling podcast. Appreciate Malik, and it's great to see Pat's face again. I thought I'd see him again after that debate, but hey, neutral ground. Let's get on to these predictions.
All right, so we'll hop right into some matches. Like I said, guys, the matches that we go through, feel free to interact in the comment section. Give us your thoughts on the match. Let us know what your predictions are. And there's only 6 matches on the card. It's very small, very small card. You know what I mean? So we'll start with Seth Rollins versus Matt Riddle. So first off, Matt Riddle got the Matt back in his name too. People peep that.
Thank God. I was so tired of that one name. I'm still waiting for Ciampa to get his name back,
bro.
Because I hate just
Ciampa.
Austin Theory too, gotta get his first.
Yeah, Austin got his back. Like, there are some people who just like their full name makes their character. Like, I get Omos. He's a big dude. Just the one name makes sense. But just Theory, like that's just a word. That's not even like a last name. That's just a word. That's not. He needed Austin Theory for it to be entertaining, I guess. But I'm so glad they did
it just fits. I don't know. It just fits. Yeah. Like it just. For some people, it just fit. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like Riddle was cool, but it's just like, it's just Matt Riddle just fits better. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
And I was always curious, like behind Vince's, like what was his thinking behind that? Because like when you think of like the star, like the people he made into stars, it's Hulk Hogan, John Cena, The Rock. Like he didn't shorten any of them. Why is he shortening people's names now?
Yeah, I don't know. Like the last few years of his run, it was always the short names for some reason. I don't understand that.
I don't get it.
I never get that either. But we'll touch on the feud in the match. The feud, obviously, they have made it pretty personal storyline wise. They're kind of digging deep into the storyline, which is pretty dope.
Yeah.
Some stuff like this in a while. Possibly could be match of the night for some people. First off, the match was going to happen at SummerSlam, and then they obviously storyline wise postponed it to this different event. You know what I mean? So makes sense. For me, I'm going to go Seth Rollins for the win though. Seth Rollins hasn't had too many big wins this year, and with Triple H now being in charge, I'm assuming he's probably going to start giving him a little more wins to kind of build up his credibility a little bit more. Plus, with the whole thing going on with Matt Riddle right now too, like I don't know even what's going to happen after this. Like I don't even know if they're going to continue to feud or just be like a one-time thing. You know what I mean? So I would say Seth probably wins and then probably moves on to something else afterwards.
Yeah, I got Seth on this one too, but I have it being a DQ win because if the promo on Monday hadn't happened, I would say Seth is winning just outright. But after what happened on Monday, I think Matt's not going to be able to keep his cool. That way, Seth gets his win and keeps his heat. Matt loses, but still doesn't really lose any kind of credibility or anything like that. Because ever since Orton went out, like Riddle's been there, but he hasn't been featured near as much as he was with RK Bro. Like he had the baby feud with Roman where he lost, and then he's just been it's just mostly been talking segments with Rollins for the past couple months. So
yeah,
it's going to be a good match like that. I was like excited for this match just because I'm a huge fan of both Riddle and Rollins. But that promo on Monday, I was like, oh, okay. Like Triple H turned this one up a notch. This one's gonna be good. So I have Rollins as well, but I think it's gonna be some form of a dusty finish.
All right.
I think Pat kind of opened my eyes on that. I think I'm gonna go with. I already had Rollins winning, but that DQ finish. I mean, I kind of see it making sense. I could see Riddle bringing in like a steel chair, and then what's the pay-per-view after Clash? Extreme Rules. That could lead up to an Extreme Rules match. So
yeah,
I'm gonna go with Pat. I'm gonna agree with Pat all the way on this one. I think Seth wins via disqualification. So I got Rollins.
Yeah, I mean the DQ thing is I'm not gonna throw it out the window. It's a possibility. You know what I mean? It's a very much possibility that it could happen, especially like I said, with how personal they made the storyline, and or at least how personal they're trying to make it. You know what I mean? If it continues, I just don't know if it continues after Clash at the Castle. You know what I mean? Like Riddle could lose, and then maybe settle. It's like I said, especially everything with Matt Riddle going on with all this shit going on right now. Like I don't know if that's even gonna have some effect or anything. So like,
I hope not, man. I saw those posts and how that girl was tagging everybody. It's Triple H, Dewdrop, and all these people. I'm like, man, you see in her bio, like her Twitter bio, it says ex-girlfriend of bro.
It comes off as clout chasing.
Exactly. Like I really hope he doesn't catch any flack.
I didn't see that. Yeah, I didn't see that.
Yeah, like
her Twitter.
I hope he doesn't catch any flack.
All right, let's move on to this tag team match. We got Edge and Rey Mysterio versus Damian Priest and Finn Balor of Judgment Day. Assuming obviously Rhea Ripley will probably be in the corner of Judgment Day and Dominic will be in the corner of Edge and Rey. This was a match thrown last minute, I believe Monday. It was put together. This is my prediction. This is what I see happening. I think the heel turn has finally happened. I think Dom is going to going to turn on Rey and help Judgment Day win. I don't know if he'll join the Judgment Day possibly, but I just feel like the last couple of weeks, the way he's kind of been acting, and then like he's pretty much been shunned out of this match, because he pretty much picked Edge to be his partner over Dom. And we saw how he kind of reacted to Edge a little bit a few weeks ago when, hit him with the spear by accident and everything. Dom just kind of wasn't really rocking with that. So, I mean, it could be a little too early maybe, but the seed's kind of been playing itself for quite some time, you know what I mean? And knowing how Triple H like to do the long-term storytelling, I wouldn't be surprised if it comes to fold. So I think that probably could happen here. I see the Judgment Day getting this win. If they don't win, then I don't really know what goes forward for them after this, honestly. Like, I don't really know, like, the plan for the group. So if they don't win this match, and I don't really know what happens afterwards, but I'm going to say Judgment Day wins with the Dom heel turn. This is what I kind of – not only do I want to see it happen, but I think it's probably, like, a little overdue at this point. Like, if it doesn't happen at this point, then it might not happen. So it's just kind of like, what's the point of that type thing, you know what I mean? And like, if something wasn't gonna go down, so or maybe maybe a wild prediction, maybe Edge turns on the Mysterios and he goes back in the Judgment Day. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it would be kind of confusing, but like you gotta understand when they broke up, that was under the power of Vince. You know what I mean? So like Triple H wants to rewrite that wrong. Like, we're not doing that. Let's put you back in the group. You know what I mean? And continue to do. I mean, this dude had a whole character. This dude cut his hair and everything. Like, he had the whole character change, and like literally, he was gone out of the group. You know what I mean? So it was like, damn, like they pretty much just reinvented himself for nothing. So that could be a bold prediction. I don't know if it'll go that route. I wouldn't be too mad at it. I wasn't too mad at when they kicked Edge out and put Finn Balor in, because I thought it could be a good move for Finn Balor. But the way it's been booked hasn't really done much, and they were way better off with Edge. So that could be a possibility. But I definitely think Judgment Day is going to get this one.
You gonna go with first of this one, Lewis?
I got Judgment Day winning. I think Dom's gonna turn. Now, if we're up to me, I don't want him to join the Judgment Day. I prefer Dominic to go on this. Eddie Guerrero's my father. He's my real dad. He was the one that gave me everything that I know. I mean, he got the mullet going already.
I hate that fucking haircut. God damn it.
Oh yeah, he does have the mullet going.
I hate that full on so bad.
I hate it. But I'd go full on Dominic. I'll change the name to Dominic Guerrero. I'd do a variation of Lie, Cheat, and Steal theme song. I'll make him come out in a fucking lowrider. I'm going all in, bro. If I'm gonna have Dominic turn.
That one's interesting. I didn't think of that. I had a different kind of long-term booking. So I also have Judgment Day. It just makes sense. I don't think Edge will turn back. If he do, that's big show levels of heel turn stupidity. So my thing is, I have Dom turning, helping the Judgment Day and not joining them, but being like resentful toward Ray, and then sort of going on this, I've earned my spot, I've earned my place here, and then fighting Ray for a right to wear the mask.
Yeah.
Because he said in an interview a while back, I want to say like it was with like Chris Van Vliet or something like that, that he's already talked, him and Ray have already talked about going to the Luchador Council and asking for permission for him to wear the mask, and he will be known as Prince Mysterio.
Ooh, so, that's fire.
So I feel, at least in my long-term booking, I see him, going up, feuding for Ray, having them have a match, mask retirement type stuff. Because Ray's getting up there, man. Ray's been around for a long time. I know he can still technically go, but he has said he doesn't want to do this for too much longer. So I think this is where it leads to passing the mantle off to Dom and letting him do his own thing.
Yeah, I think it's just a time frame though. When Ray, I mean, he's only like 47, so I mean, he's still got a couple years left in him if he still wanted to go. You know what I mean? I do know that he said that whenever he retires, he wants to pass on the mask to Dom, which honestly could be a kiss of death or it could be a good thing. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, you have to hold that to a standard.
Yeah, he's a Mysterio. You know what I mean? So, when Ray became Rey Mysterio Jr. in Mexico, it was a big thing, but he was able to branch out worldwide too, because nobody really knew who Rey Mysterio Sr. was unless you were watching Luchador or you were from Mexico at that time. You know what I mean?
This is true.
Like, if you are a wrestling fan, everybody knows Rey Mysterio. You feel me? Like,
for sure, absolutely.
His legacy is up there, and some people's legacies are so great. It's hard to it's hard to match. You know what I mean? Like.
It's just like The Rock's daughter who's in NXT right now. Like,
yeah,
you can push her to the moon. She can be great. I have no doubt that she won't be. But at the end of the day, like, her legacy is going to be compared to The Rock, and it's just like,
that's not fair either. But
yeah, man, like,
it's how it is. You know what I mean? It's just
what they're trying to do with Charlotte with Ric Flair too. Like, they're all these title reigns they give her, and then trying to make her exactly like Rick. I think what's most important is when you're trying to push a child of a legend, like, I think it's important to make them have their own identity instead of just trying to have them be a carbon copy, because that's what fucks them over. It's
well, yeah, I mean, you look at people like Orton. Orton was nothing like, Bob, and he went on to be great. I think you just have to be able to establish, like, you can obviously somewhat piggyback off the name of the lineage, but you have to be able to set yourself apart from that. I think Charlotte has actually done a really good job. Like, she still occasionally does the woo, and of course she has the figure 8. But for all intents and purposes, like, if you showed someone Charlotte's matches and you like removed Flair from any kind of like branding and everything like that, Charlotte would still be great. Like, as much as Charlotte is like the queen bitch heel that she is, Charlotte's top 3 women in wrestling right now, at least in my personal opinion.
She's my favorite woman in wrestling right now, so I ain't got no problem. I mean, she take it.
I think it depends on how great we're talking like parents are too. And I think what also helped Charlotte too is that, she came in at the right time when the women's revolution was like really starting to evolve and change. You know what I mean? Like, the whole 4 horsewomen type thing, like that whole time frame when they first came up together, like, women's wrestling was really starting to shift from when we grew up, like the Diva era, to change into like really wrestling. You know what I mean? So it was like she came in at the time, and then she was able to showcase herself too. Plus, with her being, a girl and Rick being a boy, she was able to kind of showcase a little bit, okay, you know what? I'm in the women's division and things are changing now in the women's division. Let me go ahead and stand my own legacy here and prove that I can hold my own. You know what I mean? But for some people, it's going to be hard for some people to overcome that legacy. Like, Cowboy Bob it was great, but he was never like Randy Orton level. You know what I mean? Like,
well, of course, yeah. Randy Orton surpassed his dad probably like by the time his first Intercontinental Championship run came in.
He was never to that standard, but I mean, some people, it's going to be hard for certain people to reach certain standards or overcome, certain obstacles.
But I think some people are making like the admirable try, like Solo Sikoa. I didn't know, like I wasn't huge on NXT 2.0 when it started, My son was actually really into. My son watches everything WWE, so he was who was bringing me up to speed with everything like that. And I was watching a match with Solo, and he was like, "That's the Usos, brother." I was like, "No, it's not." He's like, "Yeah, it is." And then like I took a good look at his face. I was like, "Oh shit, that really is the Usos, brother." So I didn't know, and
Looks
he's doing
exactly
great.
like them, dude.
Yeah, but he's doing great on NXT, and he hasn't specifically like outright stated that he's a brother of the Uso. I hear people say they want to bring him into the bloodline. I personally don't think they should. I think they should just leave him be, let him do his thing. But lineage in wrestling it's such a common thing that it's almost impossible, especially in the era that we live in, where you click of a button, you can go back and look at shit when it was still black and white. So it's hard to kind of see past person's brother, sister, mom, dad lineage, whatever. But I think for the most part, people are doing a really good job at it.
It's gonna be tough. You know what I mean? Like I think it depends, like I said, who we're talking about. You know what I mean? Like, and that goes for anybody. You know, like Michael Jordan's son tried to play basketball, but like his dad is Michael Jordan. Like how are you going to try to match that? You know what I mean? Like that's so much pressure there.
That's the same thing with the media with Bronny James. What they're doing to Bronny, like the expectations for Bronny is so high.
That is true, but I watched Bronny James's like high school stuff. While he's not on his dad's level, and I know we're on wrestling, so I'm not going to stay long on this. Bronny James is cold, man. That kid is talented. He's not on his dad's level. I don't think anybody in the near future or probably foreseeable future is going to be on LeBron James's level. But Bronny James is really talented. So is Bryce, the younger one, who's like 6'8" now or something like that.
Crazy.
Like, I thought I was tall, and then I see people like that, it just makes me mad. But getting back, I understand what Malik's saying, especially because Rey is such a people who don't even watch wrestling recognize the mask of Rey Mysterio. Like they realize, like, hey, it's like when you see The Rock, like people recognize The Rock not for wrestling, but just for The Rock. Rey is just an instantly recognizable figure. I believe his mask is probably the most popular wrestling mask in wrestling history.
I would say so, yeah.
I mean, they got like him. I think Liger's up there.
I mean, Liger. There's a lot of popular masks, but like,
but Rey's
if you never watch anything else, like if you pretty much put a mask like in a lineup together, most people probably would at least point out like I've seen that before. Like I know the name, but I've seen that design somewhere.
Well, it's been around for what 25 years, something like that. When he was in ECW.
It's definitely going to be interesting, though. I'm interested to see what Dom can do by himself. I personally thought he should have been a part of NXT before he came up to the main roster. I think he would have.
I agree.
To thrive more and create his own identity, but they brought him up the way they did. So I'm interested to see what he can do. He got some big shoes to fill, but only time will tell. You know what I'm saying? He could shock everybody and prove everybody wrong for all we know. You know what I mean? So he could be able to showcase his own.
I would be interested in the Eddie line or the Eddie storyline that Lewis talked about, just because Eddie's like top 2 for me. I lived in El Paso for a long time, so any kind of semblance of Eddie, I'm all for. But the
storyline, like I said, is right there. It fits itself too. You know what I mean? It's just it's kind of there to tell. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, why not kind of add on, especially if you're gonna have Dom turn heel? I mean, I figure it would make sense to at least bring something up about that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
I want them to make a new shirt that says Eddie's my papi and then have Dominic come out with it.
Oh man.
All right. Let's start with the SmackDown Women's Championship match. Let's go with Liv Morgan versus Shayna Baszler for the SmackDown Women's Championship. This is one of the matches that is one of 2 matches on the card that is interesting to me because I'm curious to see how the booking and the finish is going to be. I do think Liv Morgan is going to win. I just don't know how it's going to happen. If you've seen NXT Black and Gold era, you know that Triple H was really high on Shayna Baszler, and I think he's going to try his best to revive her and make her not only one of the top stars in the division, but one of the most dominant, if not the most dominant in the division. So I think he's slowly going to try to build her back up to that. And storyline wise, I think they're going to try to do that with Liv. You saw the whole thing with Ronda and Shayna talking about used to be a killer type thing. So maybe Shayna loses and then she snaps and realizes she's not been the same for 2 years now type thing. So I think they're going to try to continue to experiment with the Liv Morgan push as women's champion. and I think they're going to obviously build Shayna back up as somebody credible in the division. I just don't know how this is exactly going to go down. We all saw how she beat Ronda at SummerSlam. Even though Shayna Baszler isn't on the Ronda level right now because of the way she's been booked the last couple of years, I think some people still feel like on paper, Shayna Baszler could eviscerate Liv Morgan and snap her fingers. You know what I mean? So I'm interested to see how this goes down. And Ronda's, like I said, she may be involved for maybe some type of interference. She's not announced on the card, but her suspension is no longer there, type thing. So she's still kind of involved in the story a little bit too. So I'm curious to see how this goes down. I still think Liv wins. I don't think they're going to take the title off her just yet. I think Triple H is probably going to at least still try to push her as champion and see how it goes for a little bit longer. But this is, like I said, one of two matches that I'm really curious to see how it goes down for me. So I'm gonna say Liv wins. I just don't know exactly how it's gonna happen.
I'm gonna catch shit for this because I was on Team Liv when we did the last podcast. I do think Liv is gonna win. Don't get me wrong. I'm with you. I don't know how they're gonna do it. They have been showing that video all over YouTube of her training with Riddle and kind of doing the back pin thing to the coquina clutch. If they do that again for like the third time to Shayna in a women's title match, I'm gonna be so upset. But the reason I know I'm gonna catch shit for this is because while I do think Liv is gonna win, I want her to lose so bad because I love killer Shayna Baszler. Black and Gold Shayna Baszler was one of my unironically favorite characters. Girl just walked in and just demolished everybody. Yeah. And it was dope. I was so mad when she got brought up to the main roster and just nothing. She didn't. She got the one Elimination Chamber dominant win, and then Becky. There was no way she was going to beat Becky with how the rise of Becky had that year, and then it's been nothing. She was scared of a doll for like 4 months, and that's really all I can say about her. So I agree. I don't know how Liv's going to do it. I'm all for Liv, underdog champion, thing like that, but I wouldn't shed a tear or be upset if Baszler just walked in and just demolished her. Personally, I probably would.
If it was up to me, I would love to see Shayna Baszler win because her push long overdue for me. I mean, she should have been established.
Oh, I agree.
But what about you, Lewis?
I mean, I do have Liv winning. I'm with you guys. I don't know how, but when I usually look at stuff, like, I don't know why, I'm just like a long story booker, just my mind is usually just long-term storytelling. And for some reason, like what Ronda said to Shayna, you used to be a killer. For some reason, I just think it's going to lead to Ronda beating Liv, and then we're going to have some sort of Shayna versus Ronda at a Mania or some shit where Shayna gets that big win. It just feels right to me. It feels poetic because Shayna beating Liv would be cool, but I think it'll be a lot more poetic if she beat somebody like Ronda, especially on Mania.
Imagine if she choked Ronda out too. That'd be fucking crazy. Ooh. That would be crazy right there.
I'm surprised they don't do that more. Book the MMA fighters against each other. Yeah. I think personally, even though the size discrepancy is off, I thought Brock versus Riddle could have been a great match just because they both have the experience. Yeah. Brock has the power. Matt's shifty and lanky and everything like that. But I agree. I would love to see Ronda versus Shayna at some point of big pay-per-view. I see what Lewis is talking about, but I also kind of see it maybe on the flip side. If Shayna wins, then, Shayna's back on top as a champion and Ronda comes in. She's like, you only beat Liv Morgan. You're not you haven't beat anybody yet. You're not the killer that you used to be if you beat up a little girl, and that leads to something. But I think either way, wherever the outcome, I really hope that Shayna versus Ronda is the move going forward. Just because I feel like that's the match everybody wants to see.
I feel bad for Liv Morgan to a lot of extent. I feel like she's the champion kind of at the wrong time for the point. You know what I mean? She wins Money in the Bank, but I felt like she should have held the briefcase just for a while, just to continue to build her up. But obviously they had her cash in like they always do every year with the women. She cashed in on the same night, and then they put her in her first title match against Ronda, and people were just like, well, I don't see how she's going to beat Ronda because Ronda doesn't lose like that, and I don't think she's believable enough to beat Ronda. And then she lost. I mean, she won the way she did, but then like she tapped. You know what I'm saying? So people were like, well, you tapped out, so you're not even like the real champion type thing. So now it's kind of like she's kind of in a weird spot. You know what I mean? She's kind of like she's doing the best she can. I feel like, but it's just like the crowd is starting to shift a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like the experiment of Liv Morgan being champion has failed. They tried. I mean, I was on the podcast trying to give her support and everything like that, but just when you go into being a champion and your only thing of note is technically winning, and yet you haven't done anything else since. Like, she's only been in backstage segments since winning the title. And I understand, like, you don't have to have the champion fight every week or anything like that. Like, that wears people out or anything like that. Like, she has done nothing of note. And I just, when you put someone up like Shayna, who is long due for a push, especially in the eyes of the fans who have been wanting to see this push for Shayna for such a long time, you run the risk of your champion just getting booed out of the building. Yeah. And I think especially because the pay-per-view being in the UK, which is really, really hardcore wrestling fan base, I think she's going to get booed. I think Shayna's going to get the pop for it. So I don't know, maybe they'll do a feel out, like, you know, test the pop of the crowd and call it from backstage. I know
Triple H for Liv, it was just the wrong point of like it's like you guys said, wrong place, wrong time for her, because, you know, unlike most of the people on my team, you know, when I was Team Ronda, it's not the fact I didn't see Liv, you know, believable. It's just in that moment, she just wasn't that person for me. I think the perfect opportunity to make Liv champion was literally last year when she was built up for Money in the Bank, and that was her match to win instead of Nikki ASH. They fucked that up because they made Liv go through these obstacles on getting an opportunity and getting into the Money in the Bank ladder match just for her to lose. Like, that was the opportunity. If you wanted to make her champion, that was her opportunity. If you wanted her to cash in on Charlotte the next night, that was the opportunity. Not Nikki ASH. Nikki ASH wasn't even built up at all. That was Liv, and they fucked that up.
And the other opportunity too would have been at day one against Becky, but you couldn't do that either because Bianca was and the dude to be the one to beat Becky at WrestleMania because of the storyline that they already had planned. You know what I mean? So it was like that. She was always in a bad spot. You know what I mean? For the booking as far as her being champion. But I'm curious to see how this.
I'm hoping now that that's going to change in the Triple H era, because Vince's thing is Vince is always convinced that there needs to be one guy and one foil for that person, like one top person, and that is such a terrible way to book, because then you have everybody else underneath them, and then when they get brought up, like, what are we doing here? Why is it? And then their time could have passed because you need to finish out the other storyline or anything like that. So I'm hoping that in Triple H's regime, they get away from doing that type of booking style. Because right now is a perfect example. They drop the ball on Liv for a year, and then they give her the title, and they're like, okay, well, now we're going to push Shayna. And everyone's like, well, shit, Shayna's, it's been fucking 2 years since she's had her come up coming, and now everybody's on Shayna's side, and that just makes Liv look like nothing. Yeah. So it'll be an interesting one. It'll be an interesting match.
All right, 6-woman tag team match right here. We got Bianca Belair, Asuka, Alexa Bliss versus Bayley, Io Sky, and Dakota Kai. This should be an interesting one too right here. My prediction for this, knowing Triple H, if you saw the Black and Gold NXT era, or you saw how he booked NXT, he really is into the long-term storytelling. I think Bianca and Bayley to be up next to feud for the championship. It's going to happen last year, and then Bayley got injured, and she's been out for a while. I think Control is going to win this match, and possibly Bayley will pin Bianca in this match to kind of establish herself a number one contender. And it'll be some like mishap, like, I don't know, like something will happen, like it'll be a blind tag, and she'll like hit Bianca from behind or something like that, and like she won't see it coming or something. But I definitely think that is going to happen for the future. Because it seems like, obviously Io and Dakota didn't win the tag titles, but, I'm assuming they're probably still going to be feuding with Aaliyah and Raquel for the titles for a little bit. Bayley, I think, is going to feud with Bianca for the championship. and eventually they'll probably all have gold in the group. I'm not sure exactly when, but I definitely think Bailey's up next to be the #1 contender. They've also teased Alexa Bliss a little bit too, so maybe like Alexa turned in this match and helps control wins because they kind of teased that she wants to be the champion again too. So I could see if they want to do something different because she really has no character right now. Honestly, she's just there, like she's just kind of there at this point. You know what I mean? So maybe they bring back the goddess or something, or she has a completely different character. So maybe she turns on her group and she helps Bailey pick up the dub and set up a whole feud with her, Bianca and Alexa. Bailey, I'd be totally fine with that. I think that's an awesome thing right there. So that could be dope. So I definitely can see something like that happening, but I definitely think Bailey, Io, and Dakota are going to win. I mean, this is the group's first big 6-woman tag match together, and I would be really surprised if Triple H had them lose, honestly.
Yeah, I got Control winning this one too. I think they need to win this match. It's just like an absolute certainty in order to keep any kind of credibility for them going. I wasn't aware that Bailey and Bianca were the move going forward. I like it. I think Bailey is great as a heel. She's so obnoxiously, annoyingly funny. I love seeing her rip on Michael Cole. It's hilarious.
Hey, Michael.
Yeah, I love it. I would like to see the Bliss turn, but then I think that creates too much of a shuffle for the title because then if Bailey's going to be there, then Alexa's going to be there. I agree Alexa needs a character, but I just don't. I don't know, man. Like, I feel like the women's division needs so much of a reset. It's ridiculous. I love Bianca. I do. But if you ask me personally, I think Bianca's character suits more to be a heel. Walking around, spinning her hair, cocky, saying she's the best and everything like that. Like, that just seems like heel tactics to me. But I got Control winning this one. I think Becky, or I think in order to establish a challenger for Bianca, that her taking the pin makes sense. I really feel bad for Asuka because she kind of feels like a non-factor here. I mean, Asuka is Asuka, but she's not the focal point, which is kind of sad considering what Asuka used to be. But yeah, man, I agree with Malik. I can see Bianca taking the fall for this one. But yeah, I got Control as well. I want to see this group do something. We haven't had a real good, successful female group in a while. I mean, I guess you could count Toxic Attraction, but
ever. I can't think of one ever. I mean,
no, yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's true. So I would love to see like a good female faction go on a run. Like I said, you could technically count Toxic Attraction, but I hate Mandy Rose, so I don't count.
I'm with you guys. I have Control. I think this is eventually going to lead to Control holding all the gold. I think Bailey will be the one to beat Bianca, and I do think Io and Dakota are going to end up winning the tag titles, and this is going to lead to our very first dominant women's faction on the main roster.
Do you guys think Alexa would be involved in this too somehow, like as far in the title picture?
It's like Pat said, she's just it'll just shake too much shit up. It's too much going on. You know what I mean? It's like slow down shit. Like, I think everybody is a little bit like excited that Triple H is taking over, and I feel like people just want to see shit happen immediately. But where Triple H is going right now, it's good. Bailey and Bianca's good. And then I think you can throw Alexa Bliss after that rivalry is done. But right now we just don't. You know what I'm saying? Don't do too much with it right now. I think everything's good where it's at.
Right. I can see Bianca taking the pin and then like that kind of pissing Alexa off and kind of, slowly building her, pissing her off to going back to the goddess gimmick. Like she didn't lose, the champion did. And she's been great, kind of build herself back up to a character, because if she goes straight to the title picture now, while I do love Alexa Bliss, it's just bland Alexa Bliss going for a title shot. Like, let her become something again. Don't let her become Baby Fiend again, because I hated that. But let her become something. I also I had a discussion with this with a friend of mine the other day. So if they reset this division as well as Triple H has been so far, and they're able to give multiple women enough shine, do you think they should bring in a women's mid-card title?
You want to go, Malik?
I don't know. I would probably say no. They got enough. They got too many titles right now for me. They just brought back the tag titles for the women. They have 2 world titles for the women. You got 2 men world titles, and you got tag titles as well. You got 2 men's card titles. It just and 24/7 title if you want to count that. But it just feels. I don't know. I mean, they have a lot of championships. Could they make it work? Possibly. You know what I'm saying? I think they possibly could make it work, and it could be a good opportunity for, maybe women to branch out on their own thing and kind of have that little mid card title. But it's kind of like you look at someone like AEW. Like AEW has a lot of titles right now. Like they have so many. So it's like, which championships are most important? Obviously, the world titles are always important, but like, what's the mid card title? Is it the TNT title? Is it the All Atlantic title? Is it like?
I'm gonna be real with you. Until I think it was yesterday, the day before on TikTok, when T.O. got into the debate about the All Atlantic title, I forgot that title even existed. And I watch AEW regularly. Like, I had completely forgot it was a thing. So, I mean, I'm all for it. I think it's cool to have. But if you're asking about, like, what do you consider, like, the mid-card title, I would definitely consider it the TNT in AEW. But I agree, man. Like, I'm so over this brand split BS, especially if they're going to consolidate the titles on the Usos and Roman. Make it one title, make the tag team belts one belt, and just let everybody go where everybody pretty much goes wherever they want at this point anyway. Yeah. Like, let everybody float. I think they should do away with the women's tag titles in NXT and let the women's tag team title, the main roster ones, float between all 3 brands, which is probably what they should have done from the beginning. But yeah, man, this brand split with how they're choosing to operate the titles just isn't working. But I don't know. I really want to see more of the women shine. There are so many good female wrestlers in WWE that just aren't getting the opportunity to showcase and shine because Vince is an idiot.
I'm like 50-50 on it. I mean, I would only prefer pretty much just one title, like one title for the tag division, one title for the women division, one title for the men's, or, like, I'm 50-50 on it because in this case, there should be one title, but, we know Triple H, I mean, at the rate he's going and bringing in people, just signing back people and then calling people up. I mean, eventually we're going to need more titles because, not everybody can hold them. This
or another show.
But in terms of a women's mid-card title, I agree. We just need more women. There's a bunch of women that can use the mid-card title to elevate themselves. Like, you can use Aaliyah, just an example. But, Liv Morgan would have been another great example that you could have tested her with the mid-card title. You got Dakota Kai, could build her up. Dana Brooks freakishly athletic. If y'all remember her black and gold days when she was when she was first brought in, she was booked like a monster. Then they fucking threw her with Emma. She was garbage. But women like that, they desperately need a mid-card title.
Isn't she headed back to Dashwood? Isn't she headed back to WWE?
Apparently, Madcap is her boyfriend right now, so I think she might be coming.
I mean, I know that's not like, always indicative of that because, I mean, Bo Dallas is dating Liv and apparently they own a farm and he's out there doing his own thing. So I know that's not indicative of it, but personally, I was never a big fan of Emma, and I wasn't a huge fan of Tennille Dashwood. She was good. Her character was great, but just in the ring, I didn't see it. Especially if she was on Impact with people like Jordan Grace and people like that, Kara Hogan, people like that. Like, I just didn't see it, but I just feel like that's an unnecessary addition. It's kind of like the Braun thing. I love Braun, don't get me wrong. I don't think he needs to go back to WWE. I really don't. Just
if we look on the bright side, bringing in Tennille Dashwood or Emma, we pair her with Dana Brooke like they did in NXT. I mean, we have the women's tag titles now, so that's another tag team at least that we can have.
Yeah.
But do you think so? I don't know if y'all saw the report from Monday Night Raw. Did y'all see the security guard jump in the stands to take down the Sasha sign? So I feel like that's part of the process of smoothing over getting Sasha and Naomi back. Do you think they bring them back in as, Naomi and Sasha Banks, or do they bring them back as kind of like the Rio champions type deal? And
like a unification kind of thing?
Yeah, like that kind of type deal.
I wouldn't be opposed. I wouldn't be opposed. Now, if you have them come back saying to me, with that storyline, it all depends who's the champ. So like if, for example, Raquel and Aaliyah are still the champs, and you bring it back as heels, like we're the real champs. You ain't done shit. Hell, fucking yeah, let's fucking do it. But if Dakota and Io have it, I'm good on that.
Yeah, because the real champion like comeback thing doesn't really work for faces. But
I would just I wouldn't even have them come back as a team. Honestly, I would just.
I agree. I think, and this is not a knock on Naomi. I think Naomi's insanely talented, but I think Sasha just needs to be. If Sasha's not teamed with Bayley, Sasha just needs to be on her own.
For sure.
Like what were they called? The golden role models or whatever the hell they were. That was great. Loved that. But yeah, I think Sasha just needs to be Sasha Banks.
So let's move on. We got 2 more matches left. Let's talk about this match. We got Gunther versus Sheamus for the IC title right here. This is probably, for me at least, I mean, I can only speak for myself, definitely going to be the most physical match of the night. But I think this probably will be. I think this probably will be match of the night for me. Like these two going at it is going to be, man. It's going to be something for sure. I definitely have Gunther winning for sure. I don't see him losing. With the power of Triple H now, he's definitely going to try to make him a world championship type material guy. My only thing is that I really hope they bring Imperium up to the main roster fully. Like all of them, please bring them all back together. I know Alexander Wolf isn't there anymore, but I mean, Giovanni Da Vinci, you got Kaiser there, like Gunther, put them all together. If you could build that up right, you could have Imperium versus the Bloodline. You know what I mean? Like there's just so much there. Imperium versus the New Day. Like there's stuff there you can do with them together, and that would also add another credible tag team to the division. And you have Gunther, who's a single star, so that would just fit so well for me. But definitely going to be the most physical match of the night. Sheamus is very hard hitting in the ring, and so is Gunther, and it's going to be an all-out war in this ring. You're going to see scars and bruises at the end of this. And like I said, to me, this probably will be match of the night for me. I think this has the potential to be match of the night. But I definitely see Gunther winning for sure.
You want to go, Lewis?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward. This is one of 2 matches I'm really looking forward to. Seth and Riddle and Gunther and Sheamus. And man, I got Gunther winning, but this match I'm really excited. I love physical matches, man. I love physical matches. I've been preaching Sheamus has been underrated for a while now. I'm really, really, really genuinely excited for this match. I hope they bring back Gunther's Imperium theme though. That's what I hope. Hopefully that's the start of it. I've been seeing on live events that he's wearing his old attire, the black and white, John. So if we hear that theme, bro, hey, I'm just saying, bring it back.
So I'm with the both of y'all. I'm ready to watch these 2 dudes just knock 10 layers of paint off each other. It's going to be one of those matches like when you see their chest and you just kind of make that kind of face. I definitely have Walter winning. I refuse to call him Gunther. That name is stupid. So I do have Walter winning. I'm all for a big Haas fight, especially these guys who grew up or who came up in the British strong style of wrestling, who no one told them chops weren't supposed to hit as hard. So I can't wait for, the chops from Walter and the 10 beats of the Balrog from Sheamus. I'm not gonna say this one's gonna be my match of the night, but this is definitely the one like I'm going to be glued to the TV for, just because this one's. I feel like you're gonna feel this one like from your seat, from home. I'm not gonna be in Cardiff when it goes down, but this is gonna be a good one. But I definitely still have Walter retaining. I love the Imperium shout out. I do hope they bring them back. I hate that stupid Giovanni gimmick. I love the music. I want them to bring that music back. That was one of those musics that like. It fit Walter's character so well because he was so much of a menacing figure and what he's known for, that as soon as you heard that, it was like the Jaws thing. Like you heard it start and everyone's like, oh shit, here we go. So
it's like final boss music.
Exactly. So I hope because he's going to be in the UK, his home, everything like that, that he comes out in the black and white, that he brings, but remains to be seen. But either way, I got Walter winning. I do hope we get a little mini brawl on the outside between Kaiser and Butch, or Pete Dunne, whatever. Is he Pete Dunne again, or is he still Butch?
Still Butch to what we know.
I know on Twitter he changed it to Pete Butch Dunne, so I don't know what that means. He's getting his name back.
It's Pete Dunne eventually, And
I
then
hope
Rich,
so.
Rich Holland will be there too. You know what I mean? So like I said, Imperium, just saying, you throw Giovanni in there, Rich
Oh,
Holland.
I forgot Rich Holland was there. Oh yeah.
Throw Imperium in there, had that little brawl. I'm just saying. I mean, I would dig it. This is definitely going to be a physical match for sure. Like
Oh yeah.
the chops and everything is going to be insane for sure. Like it's going to be a very physical match.
And because they're like neon white, you're gonna see every hit like just glued to them. And that's not a knock to white people. I'm just saying, like, you can see the bruises more when you lack some melanin in your skin.
Yeah. So then last but not least, obviously we got the big main event here: Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. This for me is probably Roman's most unpredictable match since last year at WrestleMania. I really thought Edge was going to win last year for sure in my mind, and then he didn't. So I've never betted against Roman since because it's never failed. Whether it was John Cena or Brock, you just never felt Roman was going to lose. This is very unpredictable. You know, they're in the UK. I said back, you know, I believe whenever they announced this was going to happen in May or June or whatever, but you know, obviously to me, the main event was going to be Roman versus Drew. And, you know, I said if there was a perfect time for Roman to drop the title, this is when he was, you know, just became double champ. If there's a perfect time for him to drop the titles against the perfect opponent, it would be Clash of the Castle against Drew McIntyre. You know, if they're in the UK, Drew's from the UK, I mean, the fucking ovation he would get would be insane if he becomes the first person not only to pin Roman as the tribal chief, but wins the titles over there in his hometown. I still am really high on Drew McIntyre. I know some people kind of gave up on him during his world championship run. I still think Drew McIntyre is top guy material. I still think he's a main event guy, even though he hasn't been involved in the main event picture since recently now, and he's been doing stuff in the mid cards. But he's still top guy material to me, and I still feel like he deserves a world championship run in front of the fans that he didn't get because he got robbed of that because of COVID. Obviously the Brock match was huge. And that was going to be his moment. And even though he did beat Brock, it was in front of nobody. You know what I mean? Like nobody was there to experience that moment with him. And it was unfortunate that happened for him. But I just don't think Roman's losing. I just don't feel him dropping the titles right now. I don't know if they're going to go that route. I've heard rumors that they still can make the match for one title. If that's the case, then we're talking different. But as far as we know right now, both titles are still on the line. And there's just so many factors at play here. You know, Karrion Kross is involved in this story a little bit. He's been made it clear that he's targeting Roman and Drew. So, like, is he going to play a factor in this match? The Usos, obviously, they look out for Roman Reigns in pretty much all his matches, you know what I mean, to protect the bloodline. Paul Heyman hasn't been seen since SummerSlam. So, like, is he going to play a factor? Is he just going to pop up at Clash at the Castle and, you know, try to insert himself and try to help Roman win? I just feel with the run Roman is on right now, he's on. I mean, whether you like Roman Reigns or not, he's on a fucking legendary run that we have never seen in decades right now. And he literally has the opportunity to make history and break records that people never thought would be broken. Like if Roman, I'm gonna say this, if Roman leaves Clash at the Castle with that Universal title, he will reach 1,000 days as Universal Champion.
For sure.
There's no doubt in my mind that will happen. And I think he will beat Hulk Hogan's record. He will be the number 3 longest reigning world champion of all time in WWE history if he leaves Clash at the Castle. I think he's going to continue. Now, as far as the WWE title, I don't think he'll hold it that long. They'll probably end up splitting the WWE title away from him eventually, but he's had that Universal title for 2 years now, and he's just on a legendary run right now. Like, I just don't. And it's not, I mean, like, Drew McIntyre was actually one of the people that I said could beat Roman Reigns. So I wouldn't be mad if Drew won, and I wouldn't be too shocked because, like I said, I still think Drew McIntyre is top guy material. I think he deserves that push to get in front of the fans that he never did get. But Roman just became 2-year champion. I just don't see him being dethroned right now as the guy. I mean, I know he's working with a little part-time schedule now thing, but he's just still the guy right now. I just don't think they're going to change that. You know what I mean? Like, whenever Roman loses, it's going to be a big fucking deal, obviously, because he hasn't been pinned since 2019. So it's like it's going to feel so important. But something's going to happen here. This is the other match I talked about. I said when I talked about the Liv and Shayna match, I said there was 2 matches on the card. I don't know how it's going to end. I don't know how this is going to end. Like, I just don't know how this is going to play out. I don't think Triple H is going to do it the old way, like Vince would do it, like the Usos get involved and like the 1, 2, 3 type thing. I think he's going. something big is going to happen. Maybe the Bray Wyatt return happens. Something big where if Drew McIntyre doesn't win, the fans still go home happy. Like, oh, well, Drew didn't win, but we got Bray Wyatt. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's back now.
I mean, then you got to throw Theory in there for that.
Yeah, something I feel like something is going to happen where Roman keeps the titles, but the fans still leave happy in the UK. You know what I mean? Like something's going to happen where, because I feel like if Roman just wins and it's over with, like I don't feel like that's a good way to end that show over there. You know what I mean? Because like they haven't had a pay-per-view over there in 30 years, and it's like, you know, just imagine if Brett had beat British Bulldog, 30 years ago. You know what I mean? For that title, like. It would have been okay, but it's like he wasn't the hometown boy. You feel me? Like it's just not the way you would do it. But I just with the run that Roman is on right now, I just don't think it's coming to an end right now. I think he's going to continue to hold that championship, the Universal title, a little longer. I don't know about the WWE title. I don't think he'll be double champion much longer. But the Universal Championship, I think he probably will keep for another year.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I got Roman on this one. It's nothing against Drew. I think Drew is awesome. I agree that he didn't get his time to shine during the pandemic era, and he pretty much held the top of the card afloat back then. Great matches, great feuds, everything like that. Thought it was really dumb when he brought the sword in, but whatever. That's semantics. I don't know about this one because there's so personally, like there are so many different ways that this match can go and so many different factors that could be involved in this match. And just me personally, just for the chaos of it, I want all of them to happen. All of it. I want like Sami Zayn to cause a distraction and that gets them and the Usos kicked out. And that leaves the Usos being pissed at Sami and Sami picking up KO and then going for the tag titles. I want Cross to come in and cause some kind of distraction that pisses off or that gets Drew to lose. And then Drew's mad, so he beats up Cross. And then the Fiend shows up and sides of Cross. I would just want the most complicated, convoluted finish to this match to happen just for the sheer fun of it. But at the end of the day, I can't see Roman losing. I think if it's not a Big Four pay-per-view, Roman, just don't count on Roman losing both the titles. Again, if it's a one-title thing, I'm more likely to agree. Who knows? Maybe before the match, he comes out and says that, I don't feel like you're worth fighting me for both titles. You can fight me for one. Or if Paul Heyman does a weird, like, you didn't read the contract type thing and says that he's only one champion type thing.
Yeah.
So, but I can't see Roman losing this one. And again, that's not a knock to Drew. I think Drew is great. But yeah, man, like it's almost as like how do you book Roman to lose at this point? Like, unless you bring in The Rock or somebody, like you can't even bring in Cena because he already squashed that. Like, someone has to come in that's a believable challenger at the time. And while I'm not saying Drew isn't believable in the ring or anything like that, he hasn't been pushed to be the person to be. Because hasn't he already lost to Roman? Didn't they already do this?
Yeah,
like a year and a half ago.
Survivor Series, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't see. I know you want to send the fans home happy, but I don't know. I don't see Roman losing, at least not for the next foreseeable future.
Yeah. But you.
If anybody knows, I fucking hate Roman. I fucking hate him. He's a bitch. Fucking
now
hate
that you're
Roman.
tribal chief.
One thing we do know is sources have confirmed that there will be no Karrion Kross, no Usos, and no Paul Heyman at Clash at the Castle. That Roman is going to go at it alone. But I don't give a fuck who's not showing up because I don't have Roman losing either, unfortunately. Roman has been booked too strong where it's like Pat said, how do you have him lose? You know what I'm saying? And all the shit that I keep reading that Drew is supposed to have this big dramatic entrance. His entrance is supposed to be longer than Roman's. Like, usually 9 times out of 10, when you hear somebody getting these special accommodations, they're going to lose, and especially if he brings Broken Dreams back and he's in his hometown. I mean,
I'm waiting for that, man. I need that theme back.
I don't know, man. I just don't see Drew winning. And I've been torn on this because Malik, me and you talked about this. We talked about like Clash at the Castle, like Drew's going to be built up and then Drew's eventually going to be the one to beat Roman. But it's like Pat said, the way how Drew has been built up, it's just like doesn't feel like he will be that guy. Now, if it's for one title, and I do have a prediction that the day of Clash will have some sort of segment like showing Paul Heyman on the phone from his crib, convincing Pierce that, to put one title on the line. But as of right now, we're not going to play hypotheticals. Both titles are on the line as of right now. I just can't see Roman losing both titles. I can't. Now, if it was for one title, maybe I would give it to Drew. But right now, it's Roman, man. It's Roman, man. It's Roman. It's Roman.
Yeah, they've the last 2 years, man. His push has been so powerful. It's just hard to, like I said. There's only been one time since Roman has been the champion where I really thought he was going to lose, and I really thought Edge was going to win at WrestleMania last year, just because of the story they built up. Like Edge wins the Rumble for number one, and like the date of WrestleMania was like 10 years to the exact date that he had to retire. I'm like, this is the perfect story for Edge. Like Edge is going to become the champion again. Like this is the perfect babyface story. Like nobody ever thought it would happen. But little did I know that match was fucking to build Roman Reigns up even stronger. Like this motherfucker pins both guys in the match. You know what I mean? So I was like, whoa, okay, like that's that surprised me. But like, Roman just feels like he just really feels unbeatable at this point. Like it's just that's why it will become such a big deal when he'll lose, because I think maybe now Triple H is going to try to save the moment. Like when he loses, people may not see it coming. You may not expect it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I didn't see it. Kind of like the Undertaker streak. Like who ever thought Undertaker was really going to lose at WrestleMania? If I mean, like it was just inevitable. Like the streak was just so powerful at that point. Like even as Taker got older, it was like, well, he's still not gonna, he's not gonna lose to Brock. You know what I mean?
I'm still mad about that.
Man, I got this image in my head where I can book Roman to lose, man. Like I can. The only way. Listen, if I don't straight in the match to the point where he's bringing in the chair, and then fucking Drew just comes out of nowhere, claymores the fucking shit out of the chair onto Roman, and then Future Shock's on the chair. If I don't see Roman physically holding a fucking chair in that match, and Drew does not use the chair to fucking claymore the chair into Roman's face, bro, that's the only hope I got that Drew's winning. Because with Roman, I just don't see Roman losing to a regular schmegular finisher. It has to be with something like Roman does backfires on him. Like if he's holding a chair close to his face, boom, claymore, Future Shock, DDT on the chair. But I don't.
If Roman does win, how long do you guys think he'll keep the title?
Until I have my first child, in probably like another 10 years.
I got him till Cody comes back. I think Cody's the obvious choice to be pushed as the next big thing. Well, I mean, not that he already isn't, but yeah, I have it so I got Cody coming back at the Rumble. So maybe Mania. I know everybody wants the Rock Roman match, but I just don't see it happening. I don't think the Rock's schedule is going to be able to give it up. Personally, also, I just don't really buy the match. Like, I know it's the marquee match. I know it's the bloodline. I know it's the family and everything like that. But if we're talking about the run that Roman has been on for the past, at that point, it'll be 2.5 years. Like, I don't even see The Rock coming in stopping that. And I hope that they wouldn't have him stop that. I hope that they would keep Roman going if that were the plan. So I got when Cody comes back. I have had other fantasy booking ideas of how you could have Roman lose, but realistically, I just got until Cody comes back, man.
So you have Cody winning the Rumble?
I got Cody winning the Rumble. I got Cody surprise entrant. I don't know, whatever number. He's going to come back, I don't know, 21. No, that's when Edge came back, so no, not 21. 17.
I think Cody possibly could win the Rumble as well, whether he comes back at the Rumble or before. But I do think it's going to be The Rock and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. I think it's just inevitable not to happen at this point. It's in Hollywood. Like, it's like one of those situations where it's like it's either going to happen this year, next year it's not going to happen at all type thing. I mean, it's like the location is perfect. The story is perfect there. Like, it's there to tell itself. You know what I mean? Obviously, The Rock's schedule will come into play, but I think if they do that, I would rather have that match. Like, I would have Roman lose the titles before that. I think that match sells itself, like you said, on the story and the location and everything alone, that a title doesn't need to be involved. Because if you have Roman win, I mean, yeah, that's good, but then you really are out of people to set Roman up against to lose to. And
I mean, people are already giving Roman enough shit for being a part-timer. Can you imagine if The Rock was champion again? We're never going to see those titles.
I mean, I think he keeps the Universal Championship. Like I said, the WWE title, I think will have its own match at WrestleMania. It'll be Cody versus like Kevin Owens or somebody. You know what I mean? It'll be somebody different. I think Roman, with him being on the part-time schedule, it's going to help him a little bit with challengers, like especially if they redo the draft. You know, they completely swap brands because you know you still got Karrion Kross is back now, and then you got guys like Cody Rhodes in the face. Seth Rollins still, you know, he still hasn't beaten Seth Rollins, so that story is to tell right there for itself too. And Randy Orton, you know, we never got that match either because of the injury, so there's a story to tell with that as well. There's just
Is there a timeline for when Randy's supposed to come back, or does anybody know?
He said he's supposed to be out the rest of the year. So
damn.
Yeah, he had a fucking serious back injury, man. It was fucked.
I want Randy back as soon as possible. I miss Randy. Especially on like the last run he was with RK Bro, like he just looked like he was having a great time.
Yeah,
I wanted Roman and Randy at SummerSlam. That was going to be a banger.
Yeah, I was looking forward to that too. So I mean, and they said he's supposed to be out the rest of the year, but I don't know the man. I don't know how severe his back injury is, so I don't know what he's doing. But I mean, I definitely think when he comes back, that match probably will happen too. So I mean, there's inevitables there to happen. And then you got the guys too, like Johnny Gargano and them guys coming back too. I mean, you know, I know some people may not believe maybe some of those guys can be believable enough to be somebody like Roman, but I mean, Triple H has a way of working his magic. I mean, you saw the guys that he likes, and I mean, you watch NXT and the main roster for the times, you saw the people that Triple H liked compared to people that Vince liked. You know what I mean? So it's like you know who he likes and who he doesn't.
And it's not impossible to book small versus monster person and make it look like if you go back to. Was it 2018 Survivor Series? Was it Bryan versus Brock? And then they did Finn versus Brock, I think. Or was it AJ versus Brock?
AJ versus Brock.
Yeah. Like I was fully convinced when Daniel Bryan kicked Brock in the nuts and then did the running knee that was it. I was like, he did it. He did. And Brock is a freaking master of the kick out at 2.98 and threw that shoulder up. Like he even moved away from the ropes. And I was like, he moved. That's it. And he kicked out. So you can do big versus small and make it look good. So I don't see why Johnny Gargano can't be an option. I don't see why Finn couldn't be an option. I don't see why you couldn't bring anybody else bring back that you want that they've been talking about. Again,
other people too, like you know, I know Lewis he's been keeping me up, but he's been telling me like you know, Moose from like Impact, like his contract's coming up next year, and like he already talked about like he was like that close to going to WWE to begin with anyway. So
I'm just not a fan of Moose, man. Like,
man, you hurting me, man. Come on, man.
Okay, let me rephrase.
I mean, Moose. If you look at him though, like, well, I don't know if you've ever seen him, but I've seen him in person before because I work at the airport. Motherfucker, big as shit. Like he massive.
Oh no, I don't. It's not that I don't buy Moose as a performer or as an in-ring talent. And I have met him in person. I met him. I went to a TNA show several years ago, and he was there here in the city. Dude is a monster, and it's not like anything like that. Just what's the right way to put this? Just his character for me is bland. He's just
you don't mess with the wrestling god, man. You ain't wrestling with the wrestling god, man.
But we got the wrestling god, we got the tribal chief, we got the wrestling wizard in AEW. Like, just that trope is so formulaic and by the book. Like, just give him something. Give him something else. Like, didn't he used to play football?
Yeah, he was offensive tackle for the Falcons.
Yeah, so I'm saying, like, build him up as, like, I dominated one sport, I've dominated two sports, I've dominated one company, I've come to dominate another. And this is just hypothetical saying he does go to WWE. Like, there are a lot of people in Impact who I believe would fare well in WWE. I think Jordan Grace would do well over there. I would say W. Morrissey, but he was just on Dynamite yesterday, so I don't really know.
I don't have hopes for that. I have zero hope for that.
I don't know, man. Like, I know he's not amazing in the ring, but from what he used to be, he's leaps and bounds better than Big Cass. W. Morrissey's leaps and bounds better than Big Cass. I can say that. Yeah. Cardona's doing great, but I don't see Cardona ever signing with a major company anymore. I think he's just going to continue to float and be the indie freaking mecca that he has become. I got huge mad respect for Matt Cardona and everything he has done since leaving the E. That man has become a star all on his own.
Yeah, he's legit, man. I like him a lot.
Yeah. So
his heel work
I don't know,
is phenomenal.
I mean,
his heel work's great.
You got to think too. Like, there still could be people from AEW to come over to WWE. I still think Kenny Omega is going to WWE at some point. I really believe it's going to happen. I think
maybe at some point, but I don't know if it'll be like in the timeline that like this run for Roman is. Like, I think it might be a while. I personally see Roman. I personally see WWE and AEW collabing before Kenny just straight up leaves. But that's just me personally.
Collaboration. I still think Moxie could go back at some point too. Like, I think his main issue at the time when he left was the creative, but the creative is now different. So like, I wouldn't be surprised if he just popped back up in WWE. Like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Like,
you bring him back as John Moxley if that happens?
I think Triple H will let him come back as John Moxley. I'm like, sure.
I think so too. I think if they let Cody Rhodes come back with the American Nightmare and the pomp and circumstance of his thing, they'll let Mox come back as Mox. Yeah, man. Like, I think I would love to see Kenny over there. I'm just not a fan of Mox. For me, it's just talking loud doesn't make you a good character. It's my same issue with Eddie Kingston.
Who do you like?
I mean, like currently, I love watching it. Sorry, drew a blank. I love watching Roman. Big fan of all the things the Bucks are doing. As much shit as people are probably going to give me, I like Sammy Guevara.
Yes, sir. Yo, finally, yo.
I think Sammy Guevara and Ty Conti are a good shit heel couple team. I love everything that Christian Cage and Jungle Boy are doing. Big fan of the House of Black. Like I said, it's not that I don't like. I'm not gonna say I don't like Mox. For me, it's just I feel like the level that Mox has reached in AEW isn't warranted based off of what he was in WWE, because while his second run was great in WWE when he came back swole and jacked and cut his hair, like I agree with Punk. He was the third best member of his faction, and then the faction broke up, and then he got to then he went to AEW, and I firmly believe he was John Moxley because he came from WWE. And just since then, like, I'm just not impressed. He's still, to me, he's Dean Ambrose with a different name, and he gets to cuss a little bit more. I just don't buy it. And Eddie Kingston, I've never liked Eddie Kingston, even before AEW was a thing, and he was in the Indies and Ring of Honor and Impact. He did Impact for a little while, and he actually was on these weird like DVDs from like the early 2000s where it was like a gangsta rap / wrestling league DVDs. Don't ask.
Dragon Gate,
something like that. Yeah, he was on those. I just being an angry person and talking shit because you're from New York doesn't make you a good wrestler. Eddie Kingston in the ring is bland. Doesn't do a whole lot. He really can't do a whole lot. And then he talks all this shit on the internet he talks shit about Cole being too small and all these people, but then Sammy called him fat and he tried to punch him for it, or push him in the face for it. Don't dish it if you can't take it. That's my whole thing. But like, other than those two guys, like, I don't have beef with any wrestlers. Like I said, I'm more of I nitpick on like semantics. Like, I love Drew McIntyre, but I think the sword thing is stupid. Like, I love the bloodline, but personally, while now I'm starting to get it, I wasn't originally a fan of Sammy as a part of the bloodline. So it's semantics things for me, man. I like to nitpick. My wife hates it, but I nitpick little things about wrestling. I nitpick little things about everything. So, like, if you're asking like top right now, like, I don't think I think Roman's at the top. I don't think anyone's touching Roman right now. And that's no diss against AEW or anything like that. Kenny's doing great. I'm glad that he's back. CM Punk's he's doing all right. Apart from the last 2 weeks, CM Punk was doing great. I do appreciate Mox for what he's doing. I love the Blackpool Combat Club. I think it's criminal that Daniel Bryan is the only member of the Blackpool Combat Club that doesn't have a title right now.
Fuck yeah.
Like, how did that happen? How was Bryan Danielson the only one without a title on the Blackpool Combat Club?
The injuries and just the circumstance of bringing just Ring of Honor, it was pretty much right timing for Claudio. Tony brought in Claudio and just built him up, and then to the point where he just wanted to throw the world title. Now, for Bryan, it was just bad timing with just his injuries. I mean, you lose Bryan Danielson for a little bit, but you're bringing in a guy like Claudio. It's like, holy fucking shit. Like,
well, and that's not a diss to Claudio. I think Claudio deserved a title shot back in WWE. Like, maybe not the one to dethrone Roman, but I think he should have gotten one before. I love Claudio inside and outside of the ring. I've met that man in person. Super genuinely nice guy. Like, stops to talk to people, like to go out of his way to talk to people. Claudio's a great dude. Yeah, man. I don't know, man. I think
who's your favorite wrestler of all time?
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh, that's valid. Austin.
Stone Cold Steve Austin, Eddie Guerrero, Shawn Michaels. Top 3.
It's valid. So what do you think about the Daniel Garcia shit that's going on right now? Like you digging that?
I am.
I personally think the whole Bryan without the title thing is going to lead to Danielson and Garcia becoming a tag team.
Oh, I like that. I never thought of that. I was a fan of that. I think that's also a testament to Chris Jericho. I've said in a TikTok post that I think Chris Jericho deserves to be on the Mount Rushmore of wrestling. The man has been going for 30 years, has constantly reinvented himself and reinvented his character, has been a star everywhere he has gone. Chris Jericho deserves his flowers and then some. I love the wizard thing. It's hilarious. I laugh every time I watch it. I like Daniel Garcia. I see him. I'm glad that while AEW's booking is like 75% in shambles, like they are still making a point to make certain people look important. Daniel Garcia looks like he's going to be great. I want to see Ricky Starks be something big in AEW. It is going to be a huge disservice to what that man has accomplished if he does not become something in that company.
Ricky Starks, yeah.
I love Ricky Starks.
Only one person I'm waiting for in AEW to get pushed out. That's Luchasaurus. That's the only person I care about right now. And McKinney Omega.
I would like, you know what? I wouldn't mind a Luchasaurus push. I would like to see, put him against, like have him go against Wardlow, big man versus big man for the TNT title.
Man, I've been saying that too. Like,
man, I think what's gonna happen, bro, is with Christian and Jungle. But first of all, I don't want Christian to lose at all. That's my favorite wrestler of all time. I don't want him to fucking Jungle
Christian, Boy. That's a take.
Yeah, Christian's my favorite wrestler of all time, but I see Luchasaurus turning on Jungle Boy this match, man. I'm telling, he still has the heel music, he still has the heel look, bro. They didn't take him out of it yet. I think Luchasaurus is gonna officially, like, once and for all, like, no bullshit, join Christian. Yeah.
All right, let's run through some questions that people got real quick. We'll run through some fan questions. Do you think Bray will be at Clash? Yes or no?
At this point, man, it's a believe it when I see it type thing. I keep getting my hopes up to see Bray at some point, and I never do.
Yes or no? What do you got a gut? You got to go with your gut.
I'm gonna say no. If he's there, great. I'll mark out, jump out of my chair, scare the shit out of my kids. But as of right now, no, I just don't see it. You gotta pick one, man.
I'm gonna say yeah. Fuck it. I'm gonna be different.
Really? Oh.
I'm gonna say yeah. I think that's one way. That's like really the only way in my mind to send the fans home happy. Like if Drew doesn't win, like I can't think of any other scenario that would, like, who else could come back and get that same effect? You know what I mean? Like there's really nobody that I think would come back and have that big surprise factor that people would be happy about. You know what I mean? So like I just feel like it could happen, man. Never doubt Triple H, man. That's all I'm gonna say. Never doubt.
That's true.
Next person you see jumping from AEW to WWE? That's a good question right there.
Oh man, next person I see jumping.
I'm gonna say maybe maybe somebody like maybe like Thunder Rosa or something. You know what I'm saying? She doesn't seem too happy where she's at the moment. I don't know.
I see Andrade going back.
Andrade?
Yeah.
Who do I got?
Take Roosh with him because Roosh is killing it.
I got Christian going back. Him and Edge, one last run with the tag titles. They both retire in Toronto next year.
Let's see. So there have been some rumors, assuming this will happen. If Braun Strowman comes back on Monday, it's been like rumors that he's going to come back to WWE on Monday. Pat kind of spoke about how he felt. Okay, so me personally, I was a huge Braun Strowman fan. Braun Strowman was fucking one of like my top 3 favorites at the time he was over, like in the WWE. I really like Braun Strowman. I would love to see him go back to WWE, and hopefully he can get the push that I think he should have got back in like 2017. I think he tremendously should have beat Brock Lesnar at that No Mercy pay-per-view to become Universal Champion, because if there was anybody at the time that was believable enough to beat Brock, it was him. But every time every time he fought Brock, he pretty much got his ass whooped, and it just made him look like a bitch at the end of the day. I mean, he was beating everybody else, but the one guy he needed to beat to establish himself as the monster among men, they never had him beat. So Braun Strowman to me was also top guy material. He had the look, the promo skills, the believability behind his character. I felt like he was just somebody they really could have invested in as far as a star for the future for them. But then they would just have him do dumb shit, teaming up with the kid at WrestleMania, and then he's like has the Money in the Bank cash in unsuccessfully. You know what I mean? It's just like do stupid shit. Like it's like they would push him, and then like they would make it seem like he was gonna be somebody big, and then they would pull the curtain back. You know what I mean? I just never understood it. I just felt like they really messed up on that.
See, and I did speak about this earlier. If they send Braun or Braun goes back and they have Braun be the monster among men, the I'm not finished with you yet Roman type killer that Braun was, I'm all for that Braun. I don't want Dancing with the New Day, teaming with Nicholas, the weird, I guess like mini feud he had with Elias where he was playing like the cello and broke it over. Like, I don't want that Braun. I want killer Braun that freaking tried to kill Brock Lesnar with a grappling hook. Like, I want that Braun Strowman back. So if that Braun Strowman comes back, I'm all for it. Also, I've seen pictures of him recently online. His haircut looks stupid. Go back to being bald. But I mean, Also, I could also see him like coming back on a run if he's like pushed dominantly, and him and Raquel being something together, being an on-screen. I mean, they're an on-screen or they're an off-screen couple in real life. But I could also see him like them sticking him with Alexa, and that causing a feud with Alexa and Raquel. I don't know. I just want him to come back and be dominant. If he's not going to be dominant, then why have a 6'8", 320-pound guy?
Yeah,
it doesn't really make sense.
And Braun for me, like, and I wouldn't say I was a huge fan of Braun in the past, but like Malik said, around 2017 at No Mercy against Brock, like I said, I wouldn't say I was a huge fan, but I'm a realist in a lot of sense. So I was like very much of an advocate for Braun Strowman to be pushed because that was his moment. Now, for me, Braun right now, it's kind of like if he shows up, cool. If he doesn't, I'm not going to be bitching about it. Like it's whatever at this point.
I mean, I don't know if he will come back. It's just rumors and speculations at this point, whether he comes back or whether he doesn't come back. So it could happen. It may not happen. You can't believe everything you see on the internet anyway. So it may happen. It may not happen. But if he does come back, I would.
What? Really... Everything on the internet isn't real?
Yes.
No way.
Shockingly so. If Bray Wyatt does come back, what character would you like to see him come back with? That's a good question.
I got this. Bring back Eater of Worlds, for fuck's sake. That's my favorite gimmick. I miss that gimmick so much, bro. Eater of Worlds. Please. Please.
What about you?
See, this one's hard for me because I love the Fiend gimmick. I was a huge fan. I loved the everything, the look to the entrance to the Bray Wyatt head lantern. I loved everything about the Fiend. But I feel like you can't. It's so hard to book the Fiend to be anything other than the Fiend. Can't book the Fiend as champion because why would the Fiend want to be a champion? Like, it just doesn't make sense. So I would love to see I actually would like to see something new, like a weird like cross hybrid of both. Because I do love the Eater of Worlds gimmicks. I think his promo or his program that he did with Cena at 30, WrestleMania 30. Was it 30? Yeah, when they had the Eminem song as the promo package.
Yeah.
I love that. Because when you really listen to Eater of Worlds Bray Wyatt and the things he talks about, the wrestlers he talks about, he makes a lot of sense. So, but I also I feel like it would be so hard to depart from the Fiend character from a fan standpoint. Like, oh yeah, the Eater of Worlds is back, but what about the Fiend? But what about the Fiend? So I feel like, give a hybrid of the two. But I don't know.
He's kind of been teasing like this Wyndham 6 or something like that, or whatever that means. I mean, personally, the Fiend was my favorite of his.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That was one of the coolest characters I've seen since my lifetime. Like the look and everything about it was just incredible. And
oh yeah, I bought all the merch, all of it. It's all every shirt.
Bro, it's
all there.
I got Fiend hoodies, jackets, all that stuff, and it's like
I feel like they should have made like one of them. How old are you, Malik?
25.
Okay, 25. So you're around this time when I was like in 8th grade freshman high school. They used to have the zip up hoodies that zipped all the way up.
They had that when I was in middle school, yo. I saw all that shit.
WWE should have made one of those and put the Fiend's face on it and everything like that. Sold them, would have sold out immediately.
It's just mind blowing to me how they really fucked up like two great characters of his. Like the Eater Worlds character, they messed up, and then to me, he revived himself into something that was better. So I'm like, oh yeah,
for sure.
Great. And then they messed that up too. I'm like, oh my gosh, like it really, if he can come back with a character that's not even the Fiend or the Eater Worlds better than those two, this guy's legendary. Like this guy's creativity is off the charts. His mind for the creative process is amazing. I just feel like with Triple H being in charge, he will do amazing things with Bray Wyatt. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I just feel like
with Bray, you have to let his creative mind roll. Because like if you look back like on the Fiend, like his character is stuff that he talked about like in like a WWE Ghost Story segment from 4 years before, and all the names of the episodes of the Firefly Funhouse were like from like promos from like 2 years before. Like he story builds. That's what he's good at. Let him build. I don't care what anybody says. The Firefly Funhouse match against John Cena was one of the greatest things to ever happen in professional wrestling. That was amazing. And not just because it was weird, but like, I don't know how Vince signed off on letting Bray basically tear down the image of WWE while simultaneously build it up at the same time. Like,
and John Cena said that was one of the best things he ever did in his career.
Like, oh yeah, let Bray be Bray, and you'll be good. Let him do his thing. Triple H just get out of the way, and you'll be fine.
His creativity is really good, man. It's really good. I'll be interested to see what he comes back as. If he comes back as the Fiend just has to be used more as a special attraction type thing.
Yeah,
like, they overused him way too much for me. Mm-hmm. Let the Fiend come out for certain. The Fiend has to have like the Brock Lesnar feeling. Like when Brock's music hits, you just feel like he's gonna fuck somebody up. Like it's just Brock has that aura. When the Shield came out, somebody was getting beat up. You didn't know. Whoever was in the ring was getting beat up
before Roman ruined him. The Demon, like.
Yeah, Stone Cold comes out, somebody getting beat up. Like they have that feel. Like the glass shatters, like somebody getting their ass kicked this time. And like it has that feel like when everybody in the ring was fighting, during the alliance angle, and everybody's in the ring fighting, and Stone Cold's music hits, and he's walking down the ring.
Oh man,
like he's about to beat everybody up in the ring. Like nobody's about to beat up Stone Cold. Like the Fiend needs to have that. Like when they announce that he's coming, you're like, oh, like the Fiend's showing up. Like oh shit, like somebody about to get beat up. You know what I mean? Like it just felt like at points like the Fiend was just going to be the Fiend.
The biggest issue I had with the Fiend was this is my opinion. I'm speaking for myself. I felt like he won that title way too fucking soon. He was pushed way too soon in that world title picture. Like he should have ran through that entire roster. Like he fucking should have ran through Roman. Should have ran through Bryan. Fucking should have just ran through everybody before he even got to sniff Seth, because that's what fucked Seth up in the first place, was putting the belt on the Fiend, and then the whole hell. I'm not even gonna mention it because you hate it, so we're not gonna talk about that.
Yeah. That's one of the worst decisions I've ever seen in my life, like in wrestling. And I don't even complain about wrestling a lot like that. It's just there are gonna be things in wrestling I know that I like and don't like, and it's what it is. But like That generally pissed me off. That's one of the worst booking decisions I've ever seen in my life.
It's objective. Yeah, it's
Hell in a Cell match into the no contest. You can't make it make sense. It's a Hell in a Cell match. It makes no
it's
sense.
the same thing like they did with Braun and Roman's Hell in a Cell match, where Brock Lesnar showed up, kicked down the door, gave them one F5 each, and that was it. And I was like, huh?
It's really like an insult to like the Hell in a Cell concept, and people like Mick Foley pretty much like died for nothing in the Hell in a Cell. For what? For like, if there was any Hell in a Cell match that could have ended right there, you could have ended that one, and people would have understood. Like, okay, like the match is over. Like, we understand. Like, the man got thrown off the cell. But like
Jerry Lawler said it himself. He fell off the cell the second time. He's like, that's it. He's dead. Like, all right, just let it be done.
It's just certain things with Bray. I understand maybe they didn't want to book The Fiend to look too dominant, but The Fiend should have been booked like the first version of The Undertaker. Like Undertaker, after he dropped the title, in 91, like he didn't hold the title again for many, many years after that.
Yeah, that's true.
You just booked The Undertaker to be The Undertaker. He didn't need the title. Like The Fiend, same way. The Fiend doesn't need the title. Just put him in storylines that are important and make it mysterious and cool type shit. You know what I mean? But like they just overuse him and overpush him, and it's like he had those two title runs that ended terribly. The one ended to Goldberg, and then like obviously he was champion, and then fucking Roman came back. So like, oh, well, Roman's back now. Like let's put the title back on Roman again. So it's like, it's just better things need to be done with Bray Wyatt, and I trust Triple H more than anything to do the right thing when it comes to Bray. It doesn't matter what character he has. This one right here. What do you think Sasha and Naomi should return, and do you want them to be a team together? So me personally, I would not have them be a team. I would have Sasha come back and do her own thing. She would be just fine by herself. And I would have Naomi come back with a brand new, fresh character, and I would put her in the bloodline. I feel like she's somebody who can be at the main event level, but she's not at the Sasha Banks level yet. You know, feel me? Like, I feel like if she dropped the glow gimmick and she come back with this brand new character nobody even knew about. She's this badass, cocky, really into herself character, bloodline. And that could really, I think that could help elevate her up a lot. I mean, you see everybody in the bloodline right now. They all dripping in gold. The Usos, the best team in WWE. Roman's clearly the fucking guy in the company. So it's like, you put her in that group, I just feel like she's bred for success and top level material at that point. And she has it all. I just feel like that she never got pushed to the Sasha and, Bailey and all that type of push. Sasha will be fine by herself. I don't think she needs to be in a team. You bring her back as a baby face or a heel. She'll thrive either way. But Naomi, I think, needs a little bit of a spark or something different. She's done the glow thing for a little couple years, and it's cool. But you bring her back as something that we haven't seen before, and she got a brand new attitude. Like, have her talk about the way she was treated before. Like, no, y'all was trying to hold me back. I'm done with that shit type thing. Like, I'm about to go out here and show y'all what I'm really made of. I'm stealing everybody's opportunity. I don't care whose toes I got to step on at this point. Like, I'm not being nice anymore. Like, that type of thing. Put her in the bloodline. She's married to one of the Usos. It fits. I just feel like that's the way we should bring them back. If they want to bring them back as a team, I wouldn't be opposed to it, but that's just how I would do it.
Lewis?
Like I said, in terms of being a tag team, it just matters who's holding the tag titles. Like I said, if it's Aaliyah and Raquel, bring them back as heels. But if it's Io and Dakota, I just rather not. Like, I don't want to see babyface Sasha anymore. Me personally, I don't. I prefer her as a heel. That's just yeah. You want to go ahead, Pat? That's all I got to say about that.
I don't want to see them come back as a team either. I think Sasha works best being Sasha on her own. I like the Naomi bloodlines idea. Give her something to do. Just make her feel important, because whether or not people think so, because of what took place with the walkout, she is important now. Treat her as such. Make her a big deal. Stick her with the bloodline. Is she married to Jimmy or Jay? Jimmy, right?
Jimmy, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Let her stand on Jimmy's side. Let her help with interfering tag team matches. Man, have her join the bloodline and have them start a feud with Judgment Day. That way Ripley has something to do because she'll be around Naomi. Instead of not being able to hit her because she's a girl. Like, just let her be important. That's my whole thing. Sasha's going to be great no matter what. I got a soft spot in my heart for Sasha Banks. We'll leave it at that.
All right. Before we get off here, I appreciate everybody for watching in the chat too. You guys leaving your comments in the comment section, interacting. Thank you guys for coming through. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel for more content. We're gonna play a little game called Pick Between the Two. It's pretty simple. All you gotta do is pick between two wrestlers. I'm gonna name two wrestlers. You don't have to explain why you're picking. You're just picking on who you think is better all time. who you had ranked higher. You don't have to explain why. You just pick the wrestler and we'll move on.
They harder ones this time?
Oh, they're always hard. So yeah, they're never easy. So we'll go from Pat to Lewis. We'll just go in that order. So I'll name out the two wrestlers, and then you'll say first, and then Lewis will go second. So we'll start from the bottom all the way up. We'll start maybe easy to hard, however you guys want to look at it. It's up to you. All time, who's better, Chris Jericho or Jeff Hardy?
Chris Jericho.
Jericho.
CM Punk or Jon Moxley?
CM Punk.
CM Punk.
Kurt Angle or Edge?
Oh, fuck.
That's closer than a lot of people think.
Yeah.
Got to pick one.
Personally, I'm going with Edge.
I'm going to go Kurt Angle. Y'all see him hold all the gold in TNA.
Seth Rollins or Bryan Danielson?
Rollins.
Yeah, I got Rollins.
AJ Styles or Roman Reigns?
God, you suck. AJ.
On the all-time scale, I'm going to go AJ.
Triple H or Brock Lesnar?
Triple H. Not even a question.
Triple H, yeah.
John Cena or Randy Orton?
John Cena.
Cena.
Undertaker or The Rock?
Ooh. Undertaker.
I got Taker too. I think he's the GOAT.
Eddie Guerrero or Rey Mysterio?
Eddie Guerrero.
Eddie.
Stone Cold Steve Austin or Shawn Michaels?
He's fucked.
God damn it. We're talking all time?
Yep. Who ranks
Shawn
higher?
Michaels. My personal opinion, Shawn Michaels is the GOAT.
Man, it's closer than a lot of people think, man. Very close, but Stone Cold, man. Stone Cold. That was a coin flip.
That's tough. My answers would be Austin over Shawn. I got Eddie over Ray, Taker over The Rock, Cena over Randy, Triple H over Brock. I got Roman over AJ at this point, honestly, for me. He's up there for me. Brian and Seth. That is
Set yourself up for that one.
I might have to go. I think I might have to go Seth just by a little bit. I would say Kurt over Edge for me. Punk over Mox and Jericho over Jeff Hardy. Those would be mine. Those are tough though. Some of those are tough. I try to make them hard. I try to switch them up. Make them as hard as I can.
Those are good, man. That Stone Cold one fucked me up, man.
Those would be tough, So appreciate everybody for watching. We're all excited for Clash of the Castle. So we got a lot of this. You got Worlds Collide this week too, and you also got
real quick. I'm not gonna keep us under too much, but can we really quick just brush over Ricochet versus Carmelo Hayes? Because that shit's gonna be awesome.
Oh fuck
I'm
yeah!
So hyped for that freaking match. I'm so glad they made it. I don't care if it's last minute.
That probably is maybe the most stacked card of the whole week. I mean, you got
for sure. I'm still don't know everything that's going on at All Out, but
Braun Breaker and Tyler Bate. You got Mandy Rose versus Blair Davenport and Miko Satomura. You got Ricochet versus Carmelo Hayes. That's gonna be fucking incredible right there too. And then there's two other matches I can't think off the top of my head. But the Fatal 4-Way tag team match for the tag titles, and then there's one more match I can't think off the top of my head, but. That card is gonna be fire though.
I'm hyped. I want Ricochet to win it. I like Carmelo Hayes, I do, but I've always been a fan of Ricochet. I want Ricochet to go back. I think Ricochet is one of those people that just needs to go back to NXT and just hang out down there for a little bit and dominate. But anyway, sorry, we got off subject. You can go ahead and do the outro. I just wanted to bring that up.
We good, man. I agree. If there's any time to call up Melo, I mean, this is the perfect opportunity to call up Melo. I think he's done everything he has in NXT. I think this is a perfect opportunity to call him up. He would be great in the United States division on Raw. He would be awesome.
I think if they're not going to put him in the world title picture, they need to call Carmelo Hayes up and stick him with Hit Row.
Oof.
Let him run Hit Row. That's all I'm saying. You can bring other dude, what's his name? Trick. Bring him too. He can stand in the background and look cool. He could be the what's the dude?
Man.
No, what's the dude in AEW with the spray? Brandon Cutler.
Cutler, yeah, Stooge
Yeah,
Cutler.
He could be the Brandon Cutler of Hit Row, just stand there and look, do stuff. But I'm just saying, I know you are a huge Hit Row fan, Malik. I know. I stole your picture of your post for mine, which, by the way, that is my most successfully viewed post on my page. So thank you for that, I guess. But yeah, man, like I think Hit Row needs a little jab in the arm of something big, and I think Carmelo Hayes could be that.
Valid. So a lot of good wrestling going on this week. We will see what happens afterwards. Hopefully none of us have heart attacks from anticipation, because some of these matches are gonna make your adrenaline rush. The Roman and Drew match is gonna have me on edge for sure, because that's I'm a big Roman guy, so like I don't mind if he loses, but kind of want him to keep the titles long, you know what I mean? So I'm on edge with that. And then you got All Out, the Moxley and Punk match. That's like, I don't know what the fuck's going on with that. Like, that's like a very unpredictable for me at this point. Like I don't know what's gonna happen with that shit.
Man, I'm not even excited for All Out, man. To be honest, this shit.
I'm not excited for the main event, but I am excited for the pay-per-view. I'm sort of in our glory versus.
What's the give us the biggest shock you have coming in this week for any show? What do you think is gonna happen? That's gonna shock.
Biggest shock.
I'm gonna say Bray Wyatt. I'm gonna say Bray Wyatt shows up at Clash of the Castle. Biggest shock right there.
Ooh, I like that. Okay. I'm trying to run down all of the cards and see like what I think would be the most surprising thing. I have all right, fine. Just because I want to throw in, I have the Elite losing the Trios Championship finals.
Ooh.
Dark Order's the Dark Order are gonna recruit Hangman. You know it's gonna come, and I think the Dark Order will win the Trios titles. There's my biggest surprise of the weekend.
Okay.
I mean, if we're going bold, Bray Wyatt, Braun Strowman reunite.
Ooh.
I'm gonna just leave it like that.
I wouldn't mind that either.
What about MJF? You guys think he's gonna show up this week?
I lost hope.
What's more likely to happen? Braun Strowman coming back this week or MJF? Bray Wyatt or MJF?
At this point, MJF.
Yeah, if I gotta put money, I'll put MJF. If he doesn't show up in that ladder match, because there's one more participant they didn't announce.
Oh yeah, the Joker.
Yeah, if it ain't MJF, I lose hope. You going to the E. That's what it is.
If he does come back, I hope he does come back as the Joker, because the previous history of the Joker in the ladder match, like if it's not boldly predicted like it was with Hangman last year, a couple years ago then the Joker's always been very underwhelming. Like I remember one year it was Leo, and that's not a knock on Leo Rush, but like
my guy right there, Leo Rush is my guy.
I like Leo, I do, but like when you think of I feel like the Joker is like the number 30 spot in the Rumble. Like it's supposed to be big, and while Leo isn't, I'm not saying he's not great. I was a huge fan of him in the Cruiserweight division. I was a huge fan of him with Bobby. I was a huge fan. I like watching him on the Real World Road Rules Challenge shit that he's on. Dude's great, funny dude. Just when he came out as a Joker, I was like, oh, it's all right. It's all right.
So before we go off, how do you guys feel about the possibility of Drew beating Roman and then Theory coming in and stealing that moment from Drew?
Cashing in? Ooh,
yep.
That would be some shit right there. That would be some shit. That would be some tremendous heel heat, but I don't know if it would feel right for me at this moment right now.
I don't see it happening just because I feel like they want to do the Johnny Theory program for a minute, like just bringing Johnny back. He needs somebody to go up against, and they already have that previous tenure with the Way. So I can see him like coming to cash in and Johnny stopping him. But as far as like official, like successful cash in, I don't see it happening.
Split.
All right, everybody. This time we're signing off for real. Thank you guys. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button for the channel. I got a Jeopardy that I'm working on too coming sometime next week. So be tuned for that for the Jeopardy. Make sure you guys go check out all the social media platforms and stay tuned for all the wrestling this week and the reviews coming, because I will have a lot to talk about this week on the TikTok. So appreciate you guys for joining. You guys be safe.